How's it going, everybody, and welcome back. This is Wake Run Collapse, and for the first time ever on the channel, today you get to experience a complete Japanese master set of Pokemon cards. I've been working towards this for almost 6 years now, actually maybe a little bit more than 6 years, depending on when my collecting really first began, and I'm really thrilled to have this opportunity to bring it to you. Few housekeeping things before we get into it. First of all, there will be several cuts in this video as I move from binder to binder because transitioning from one to the other is not easy, and it also allows me to make mistakes and only have to cut out 2 minutes of the video and start again. Secondly, this is shot and updated and current as of July 1st, 2018. So when this is going live for the first time. So if there are new sets that come out, I may be collecting them, I may not be. But the fact of the matter is, upon filming this, I am finished. I am done. There's a new Japanese set every 4 or 5 weeks currently in the TCG, so it is very difficult to not only catch up on all the old ones, but finish the newest one in time, because as of right now, Thunderclap Spark, which is Sun and Moon 7A in Japanese, is not going to be released for another 4 or 5 days, and that's about as close as you can possibly cut it. And still open a case of cards and enjoy the openings for what they are, and then collect everything else that you happen to need. So in this moment, I am done. Now, if you are asking, where is a specific card? Well, I'm not the best source for that, because oftentimes if you recognize a card from an English set and you don't see it in this video and you're like, no, it's not complete because he doesn't have this, well, that leads into my next point. So you want to check Bulbapedia, which is a great source for finding out how English and Japanese cards coexist, or where they showed up in one language versus another. Oftentimes a Japanese card will be in a deck, or a half deck, or some other pre-constructed thing, or maybe even just be a separate promo card, whereas in English it was in an actual set. Which leads me to the most important part. What is a set? Now, I consider a Japanese set of Pokemon cards to be a situation where you open a pack and you get random cards and you build it towards completing all the cards that you can potentially get. Do I have every single Japanese card in existence? No. I'm not made of millions and millions of dollars, and I do not have that kind of time to get an exclusive card that they only printed 20 of and it costs 15 grand. Like, I have other aspirations, and it's not to do that. I set out to complete every Japanese set, and I have done that. Have I opened every deck that has ever existed and collected every card and compiled them all together? No, I've not done that. I've got every set. So, over the course of the next however long this is going to take, I will be filming it and showing it to you guys. Let me know as we move along in the set, from the oldest to the newest, what your favorite sets are, what some of your favorite cards are, and most importantly, make sure you like this video and subscribe as well. It would really help with the channel's growth. Anyways, enough talking from me. On with the master set. Alright guys, let's give this a go, starting all the way back at the beginning with Japanese base set. Way back in 1996, this set was released in Japan. And there is the Charizard right there. We're going to go through these fairly quickly, just so you can actually get a chance to see all the cards from every set. Some wonderful holographic cards all the way through here. I really want to just show off all the artworks in each of these pages. In case you are curious, I use 9 card sleeves, obviously. I use the Ultra Pro Silver series, and for sleeving my cards, I do sleeve them back to back, but they each get their own individual KMC perfect size sleeve. They're actually fantastic. Let me show you real quick just how tight the sleeves are. You can see there's very little space on there whatsoever when showing off this de-evolution spray, but I'm going to slide that right back in there and continue on. Try not to spend too much time on each individual expansion. I'd rather you be able to see all of them. Now we're moving on to Jungle. A lot of grass-type Mons in that set. You can probably make out which cards are holographic and which are not, even if they're not on the direct lighting side. I have a big spotlight that I'm shining like on a wall, kind of in the corner. It's causing this to be a little bit brighter, but as soon as I tilt the page just a little bit, it gets better. So there's your Jungle set. Here we got Fossil right here. Of course, every set is complete, but some of them were tougher than others to complete, but I will be talking about those as I get to them. A couple of personal experiences with some of these sets. Overall, most of first generation was pretty easy. You don't have these massively ultra rare cards like you do now. A lot of them have a lot of like nostalgic value for people, as we start with Team Rocket. But that also means that people know that the cards are going to sell, which makes them more available. Sometimes it does hurt you a little bit on price tag, but thankfully I was able to open a lot of first-gen booster packs, and even a couple of booster boxes a few years ago before the craze really started hitting for these older versions of these cards. It definitely helped out in the long run. Second gen was a little tougher in some instances, and definitely third gen was a monster. There's your first secret card ever in the Japanese TCG. And now we're moving on to the Gym series. They do have specific names for the Gym series cards in Gym 1 and 2, and Neo 1, 2, 3, and 4 is generally how I refer to them, or with the English Neo expansion names. Gym 1 and Gym 2 in particular were very, very difficult to keep straight because they jumbled a lot of the cards when they released it in English. So some of these collections don't make a whole lot of sense if you're an English collector only. However, if you're a Japanese collector and you look at an English version of those for Gym Heroes or Gym Challenge, is that what it's called? Then you see madness at every turn, and it is completely indistinguishable as a set. A lot of trainers, a lot of Gym series cards that didn't appear at all outside of decks. So a lot of the artwork that you might be familiar with is not going to appear here because they're not in a set. But here's Gym 2. Another instance of lots of grass type cards. This is another Zard. Just there for fun. Trying to be zoomed in enough that you can see all the artworks, but zoomed out enough that you can see all the artworks. So I hope this design is alright with you guys. Oh, that killer Mewtwo right up there. Love that card. And, yeah, just grooving through at this point. And now we're on to the Neo series. Neo Genesis right here, Neo 1. What's it called in Japanese? Like Gold, Silver to a New World. Some funny names right there. You'll also find as I go that some of the binders are larger than others and hold more sets than others. It's just the binders that I happened to find available at Walmart at the time. There's nothing special about them. I wanted them to be black so they'd all be the same, and that's pretty much all I was looking for. Hold my cards. Not the toughest set of regulations. I'm sure you guys will recognize that Lugia in the bottom corner. Like I said, try not to spend too much time on any individual set so that we can have the opportunity to see them all and have this video not be 3 hours long. Here we've got Neo Discovery. Got a lot of packs of this early, and thank goodness I did. It is much harder to open packs of this set now. And actually have it, you know, not cost you an arm and a leg. Special White Star Raichu. Right here. I'm going to take this out real quick to show you. In the bottom corner, you can kind of see that. There it is. Slide that right back in there. Tyranitar. Second gen introducing all those Dark and Steel types really helped to spice up the coloring in the TCG. I think it was missing a little bit before then. So now we're on to Neo Revelation. Neo Revelation and Neo Destiny are very expensive sets. They're expensive to complete, they're way more expensive to open, and it's probably because of those two guys right there, the Shining Magikarp and the Shining Gyarados. It's probably got something to do with that. They're awesome cards. This set in general featured a lot of great holographic cards. Not particularly large, at like 55 or 57 cards. It's not a big set, but it's definitely a prestigious one to be sure. And of course, Neo Destiny. Where do you even begin with a set that has 8 Shining cards in it? I'm not sure. There's your Celebi. There's your Charizard. And the rest of the set is awesome as well, so I don't want it to be discounted or treated like it's only those 8 cards that matter. Though a couple of them might matter personally to me more than others. Lots of unknowns. This Shining Mewtwo right there, right in the center there, I pulled that card. If you were a fan of the channel a long time ago, you may have already seen that opening, but I've pulled that card for myself, and it's pretty amazing. There's Kabutops right there. There's Tyranitar, there's Steelix. Got the Noctowl there. I might have skipped one, to be completely honest, as I was going through, but again, focusing on the exact Shinings as I go is not really the focus of this. I want to be able to show you the Master Set. Oh, going back over here. This is the VS series. This was expensive for me to collect, but also very easy for me to collect. It's like 150-something cards, and I purchased it all at once from a seller in Australia, I think. I just bought the whole thing all at the same time. The artwork is pretty killer. It's a cool transition to the E-Series cards because of that thicker border on the sides. And overall, as much of a joy as it would have been to open packs to complete a set like this. Ooh, Karen's Umbreon. Very expensive page right here, just in general. A lot of $20, $30, $40 cards here. It was nice to not have to sweat that, to not have to open the 30 card booster packs, some of which are like $100 each sealed now, which is just insane. And just to be able to pay a flat price, be done with it, and not have to search like a madman for it. And the special Tyranitar in the corner there too. That does it for the first binder. Let's start with the second one. Now, this is onward to the Web series, which is a complicated set to describe. It's better to just look it up and find out. But it is a very rare set as well, kind of like the VS series, but a lot smaller than that. Only runs like 48 cards or something like that. Just not a big set, but a lot of nice, heavy hitters at the end. What's going on, guys? And then from here we jump right into E-Series 1 through 5. I've always considered this to just be E-Series base, or E-Series 1. And then the subsequent sets do have their own names, but you can call them pretty much whatever you like, as long as you know how you're referring to them and what they mean to each other. There's an interestingly designed set throwing the trainers in the middle, after the common and uncommon cards, and then you get non-holo rare versions of all the holos, and then you get them as holographic cards. So I don't know, because the set is so different, I think it's pretty cool. But now you start seeing the holos, and then it's all holos the rest of the way. A lot of good stuff there. Now on to E-Series number 2. This is the town on no map. Completely changed again, the styling of it. Still had non-holo rares with holo counterparts, but they pieced them all together like a regular set. Which is pretty fancy. kind of amazing that this video is going to chronicle 22 years of the TCG in Japanese. But I think it's pretty awesome as well. So here's E-Series number 3, Wind from the Sea. And hopefully seeing a lot of these older sets, especially the ones that you may not be as familiar with, might encourage you to try to build an E-Series collection of your own or a Neo collection of your own. Or even just seek out individual cards that maybe you didn't know existed or you thought were particularly awesome just by seeing them here. You know, every now and again, I happen to go through my own collection, and there's an artwork that catches my eye, even if I've seen the card a whole bunch of times before. These T-Tars are pretty special to me, though. I get excited every time I see those. And, oh yeah, crystal cards. Remember that? E-Series 3, 4, and 5 in Japan featured crystal cards, 3 per set. This time we had Nidoking, Kingdra, and Lugia. Let's move on to E-Series number 4, that is Split Earth. 4 and 5 were definitely tougher to find now. Oh goodness, forget sealed product. You're never paying for that. As they were the equivalent to Skyridge, which I wouldn't dream of purchasing in English if I were an English collector, but that's just me. Some people are super passionate about it and they dedicate to that, and that's great. But I could not do it. Couple Umbreons down there at the bottom. Always excited to see those. Crystal Kabutops right here, and then Crystal Ho-Oh, and... oh, sorry, and I skipped over Crystal Golem, but it's right there. Not having direct lighting, I don't see it as well. I'm an old man, I'm 32. These things happen. And on to the last E-Series expansion, Mysterious Mountains. E-Series number 5. I don't know how closely this relates to Skyridge, if it's like a carbon copy, if they just took every card from 4 and 5 and turned it into Skyridge. They may have, they may not have, I'm not sure. But there's a lot of great stuff in this set, of course. And then we've got Crystal Charizard, Crystal Crobat, and Crystal Celebi right up at the top. And that does it for Gen 2. So now we're going into Gen 3. Ruby and Sapphire base. Completely different card structure. Looks way different. I love how they ditched the yellow borders in Gen 3. I can't speak enough to how excited I was about that. Plus they started introducing the old school EXs, or at the time, EX cards. Brought on a completely different life in Gens 5 and 6. But for here, they went back to a smaller size set in general. A lot of them were 50 to 60 cards at the beginning. I do include energy cards as well where I feel it is necessary. It's not super specific. I'm not rigid about that. But I do what I do basically. Next one is Sandstorm, I think. Miracle of the Desert, I believe, is the Japanese name. Miracle of the Desert. And then Rulers of the Heavens right after that. Again, I apologize if I happen to mix up some of these names. I don't actually read Japanese, and I don't have a cheat sheet with me, so I'm doing this from memory. Shuppet, having a good old time there. You just keep being you, buddy. Then moving on to Magma vs. Aqua. A larger set, of course. Definitely changed things up for a little while. Made the norm of a set size more like 80 cards, and then it just all got super randomized from there. But some real hidden gems in sets like this. that you may not really consider or remember when you think back in the TCG. And there's a cool little treat at the end of the set too, before we switch binders. It's those special energy cards, holographic as all get up. Another binder down. And picking right back up with Undone Seal. More 3rd gen goodness. This is physically the largest binder that I own. This binder is like 2 inches thick or something like that, so it's going to feature a fair few more cards than the last one. Might also have to cause me to take a slightly different angle to filming these, as it is a precipitous drop as we get in through here. The 3rd and 4th gen was really when a lot of the Pokemon hype kind of cooled off for a lot of people. I know Gold and Silver was definitely something that a lot of people carried over and continued to play if they were enamored with the first generation of games. But then 3rd and 4th gen really didn't carry the same kind of weight. And then it really started making a comeback afterwards. What do we have here? Flight of Legends, I think, is this set? Well, the TCG just kept plugging away, though. Set after set, hit after hit. Zoom out just a little bit there. How's it going, Articuno at the bottom? And Zapdos, and we already passed Moltres. Very cool Gengar. A lot of cards, by the way, from this particular expansion were recently reprinted or reimagined in a brand new Japanese set that you will have already seen on the channel if you are already a subscriber. But if you happen to be new, you can definitely go back and check them out. Champion Road took full inspiration from a lot of sets in this era. Now that special set right here, this is Deoxys of the Torn Sky. Again, translations do differ. You might call it Clash of the Blue Sky as well. It's going to feature something pretty cool in one of the, in my opinion at least, one of the best looking cards ever to come out of any Pokemon TCG set. And there it is, Gold Star Rayquaza, Latios and Latias up at the top as well. Gold Star cards. It's a pretty special page. Rocket Gang Strikes Back appears right here. It goes in a completely different direction in terms of Gold Stars with the Trico and the Torchic and the Mudkip, but it still carries the tradition over, which I thought was really cool, while also splicing in those dual type mixtures with the dark type, joining forces with something else. Just awesome in general, just really fun. A cool way to introduce like an ultra rare. I think because those packs were those boxes were like 20 packs a piece, I think on average you pulled 1 Gold Star every 2 boxes, but again, I was not a big collector at the time, so correct me if I'm wrong. Cool page, a lot of Rocket stuff on there. And then, of course, the trainers. And then we're moving on to Golden Sky Silvery Ocean, which I believe was the start of the PCG era. The first part of 3rd Gen was called the ADV era, but this changed a little bit. We did continue to carry on with the old school EXs and with the Gold Stars and such. I always felt that Feraligatr should be a Gold Star. It's kind of freaked me out. Oh, but I love that Suicune. It is gorgeous. This was a terrifically difficult set to complete. Getting all the unknowns, especially like non-holo rare unknowns like W and things like that, and the question mark. They're not cards that packed a lot of value outside of the fact that nobody could find the darn things. So I never felt that they were exceedingly difficult to find outside of actually finding them. And it was a slog and a half, but we got there. And now that that part's over, we can make a video like this. Thank goodness. Mirage Forest was the next set. Golden Sky, Silvery Ocean clocked in at like 106 cards or something like this, and Mirage Forest backed off by about 20. There's a little whale party down there. It's not the first one you've seen in this video, but he's there now. The Reggies were tough to find as well. Again, not a terribly popular card, so it's just a matter of finding one in the condition that you like. But once that's done, it's just a matter of sealing the deal. And here we go with Holon Research Tower, which is a set that I always wish I would have been able to like open a booster box of, because it's got the funny dittos. It's got, you know, the changing of the types by having the Delta species cards, and the box design is absolutely exquisite if you've never seen it before. Honestly, it's a work of art all on its own. And I would have loved to have opened a box of it if it didn't cost like $2 or $3 grand to be able to do that. As a little advanced spoiler, I do actually have 5 packs of Holon Research Tower that I've been holding on to for quite some time, because I found them at a really good deal. I got them for like $25 a pack quite some time ago. And once the Booster Pack Frenzy series starts back up with episode number 89, we'll start working toward that. So we get Holon Phantoms right here, I think. Because the Booster Pack series, the Frenzy series, will end at episode 100 with those 5 packs. Because you can't beat something like that without risking your future mortgage. Not that this is necessarily the best video to talk about responsibility in collecting, but I digress. Some more cool holo cards for energies here too, like Magma vs. Aqua, but obviously a different design completely. Really think those are sweet. This one's Miracle Crystal. I actually had to look at the set symbol to remember it. It's hard to keep them all straight. Miracle Crystal, I've opened a bunch of packs because I got really lucky and got them for like $8 a piece off of SMG Quest a while back. And I did something I'd never done on the channel before and I'm likely to never do again. I pulled the Alakazam Gold Star. First and probably only Gold Star pull on the channel. It was just amazing. As we finish up with Miracle Crystal, you're about to see my favorite Japanese set ever. E-V-A-R, ever. This is the cream of the crop right here. The furthest ends of offense and defense. Just let the goodness just flow over you. You've got the shiny Mew. You've got the black Charizard coming up in a second. There's just no comparison. The beautiful Latios Latias EX cards. Now this would be a box that I would shell out for. Just to have the experience. And there's that Charizard right there. In case you were wondering when that was going to come up, there it is. It's just such a fantastic set all the way around. It's inventive, it's fun, it's way ahead of its time. It's just amazing. Now moving on, we actually have the 4th gen expansions starting. Diamond Collection and Pearl Collection were separate booster boxes in Japan, but they shared 90% of the cards. And in lieu of not having like an actual set listing, I decided to just go off of Bulbapedia, collect one of everything, and make a Diamond and Pearl collection out of it. The cards are absolutely the same. They just split them up with like exclusives, kind of like if you were to have Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue, but certain ones you'd have to trade over. Well, they made that for a TCG set, and I always thought it was kind of weird, so I did something about it. I think honestly the binder would probably be a little bit boring if you just showed the same cards over and over and over again. That would kind of be crappy. So I didn't really want to do that. A lot of stuff in here. Not the most creative or inventive artwork, but I found that the first couple sets of every generation, when they're showing new cards, they tend to rely on the Sugimori artwork a lot, and then they start to branch out a little bit from there. Here's Diamond and Pearl 2. That's Secret of the Lakes. Amusing anecdote: I once completed this set, and then uncompleted it, and then completed it again. Something along those lines. I had purchased a trainer card that I was missing called Lake Boundary. I think it was Lake Boundary. And then I couldn't find the thing, so I had to pull it out of a booster pack to be able to get it. The cool thing about 4th Gen, aside from the level X's that obviously you started to see here, is that they started to show certain Pokemon in cards that would not be seen in Pokemon cards again. You know, your Bonsleys, your Happiness, your Mime Juniors, all those baby forms, and then just a lot of Pokemon in general that just don't get much love in the TCG. It was nice to be able to see it. I've always felt that they oversaturate certain sets with certain Pokemon just because they know that they'll be, hits with collectors and people love Gardevoir and all this other stuff. But back here, they were just like, let's show all the Pokemon. It was simpler. It just did that. It was nice. This set is really special. This is called the World Champions Pack. And this was the last old set I ever completed. The set was only released for 2 weeks. It featured Gold Star Evolutions, as you're seeing right now. And beyond all of that, it had energy cards at the end. And it was just like a special mail-away thing. I've never actually opened packs from them. I actually purchased a lot from somebody that ended up completing like 80% of the set on its own, and then I just cherry-picked to complete the rest of it. And a couple of very kind people in the community hooked me up with the last 2 energy cards that I needed. But it's just a real fun set all the way around. You got the trainers as well. That Master Ball. And the energies. Whew, that was a thick binder. On to the next one. Alrighty, picking up where we left off with Diamond and Pearl 3. This is Shining Darkness. Well known for an amazing holographic collection. They just crushed it with the heavy hitters and put them all in the same set, really. A lot of legendaries, a lot of fan favorites. Again, doesn't exactly show off a lot of diversity, per se, but if there was going to be one Japanese set that you decided to collect so that you could get some iconic cards from the Diamond and Pearl series, this would definitely be high on my list of recommendations. So, it is a huge set as well. It's like 127 cards? I don't remember. But there's a whole bunch of them, and that's what's important. Yeah, I threw in the energies too. Sometimes I just kind of chuck them in. Diamond and Pearl 4 and Diamond and Pearl 5 were interesting splits, if they were. So Diamond and Pearl 4 was split into 2 subsets, Chasing the Moonlight and Dash of Dawn, and Diamond and Pearl 5 was split as well. It was Mysterious Cry and Temple of Anger. So you're actually going to see Diamond and Pearl 4 twice, here and then immediately following it. And then you'll see the exact same thing for Diamond and Pearl 5. They're still decent-sized sets, as you can see, but not game-breakingly huge. They're, 65 cards-ish a piece? And then just kind of divvied them up. This is something that ended up being done a lot in Black and White and X and Y series. Got a lot more cards out there. Still with the unknowns, though. Still with the unknowns. But it gave people a lot of stuff to collect. And I'm assuming that they were released simultaneously. But I was not collecting at the time. The very first sets that I collected upon being released were Black and White 6, Freeze, Bolt, and Cold Flare. It was a fun time. It wasn't even on YouTube at the time. It ended up becoming Boundaries Crossed, so it actually makes it really easy for me to watch Boundaries Crossed openings, even though they're English. They were like the first card that I looked forward to outside of just waiting for the shipment to arrive at the house. It's like, oh, a new set, what's it going to be? Rather than, I'm going to collect these sets that I already know the cards are from. It was just different for me. A lot of sets from this era ended up having 1 or even 2 non-holo rares in a booster pack, and then they also featured a holographic card that was guaranteed too. Which I always thought was sweet. So a bit of a smaller binder here, thank goodness. Running out of arm strength, holding the camera. And now we're into one of my favorite parts of any era ever. We're into Stormfront, or Intense Fight in the Destroyed Sky. This is basically, even though it's Diamond and Pearl 6, it's basically a Platinum era set. Because they had the shiny cards, as you can see, the Voltorb up there. Looking hyper sweet, and the Drifloon here. Awesome level X's, terrific pull ratios, just a fun set overall. And if you are unfamiliar with Stormfront, you have a little surprise coming to you in a couple of pages. They come in the form of super sparkly reprints, sometimes of very highly heralded cards, sometimes not. But in this case, Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard, and even from a distance you can tell that card is different. Started showing up, and they were awesome. And now we're heading into the Platinum series with Platinum 1 Galactic's Conquest. Unfortunately, the sun is coming out, so although I have blackout curtains, it does poke through a little bit, so it is going to be a little bit reflective, like up in these couple of cards. But I'm not going to sit here until the afternoon when it's 95 degrees outside and continue to film with no air conditioning. That would be really tough under these lights. Right now it's only about 85, so I can sweat it out for a little bit. But Galactic's Conquest is just a thrill of a set to work on, and so are the future ones coming up here. Platinum series, by the way, amazing level X right there with Dialga. Always going to love that card. The upcoming sets, Platinum 2 is Bonds to the End of Time. Platinum 3 is Pulse of the Frontier, or Beat of the Frontier. So you get the reprint Scyther, Electabuzz, and Hitmonchan right there. And then Platinum Series 4 is Advent of Arceus. So here we go with Bonds. A lot of the same type of stuff. Just basically a lot for any type of collector, no matter what you like. You got Evolutions in this one. You got the Level X cards. You got a cool variety. You do have Sparkly Rotoms for all your household needs. You should never know when they could come in handy. That Alakazam is pretty awesome too. But the Rotoms they just kind of threw in the middle of the set. Which I thought was fancy. Awesome Flygon Level X right up there. And some sparkly Pikachus. Having himself some fun. So here's Pulse of the Frontier, and Pulse of the Frontier was when I really started to feel like I had a stride as a YouTuber. There's a shiny Yanma right down there that I love. That I really felt that I had a stride as a YouTuber. Because I opened a booster box on the channel. I think I might have split it into 2 parts. It was something I used to do back then. And it was so much fun. Like, I would start having random people show up and be like, wow, this opening is awesome and stuff. And I remember getting 80 views on that video and thinking, wow, this is amazing. And then I was like, wow, I can maybe do this for a while. This could be something where I could build an audience. And for a while I built an audience, and then I just didn't. Then I alienated all of them. And then some of them came back for this video. See these cool level X's. I remember not pulling that Absol, but getting the Rayquaza out of that box. That was a lot of fun. Reprint Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos right up there. On to Advent of Arceus right here. Kind of the last hurrah for a lot of that. That blue Ponyta standing out a little bit at the top there. And of course these special Arceus holographics are awesome too. Kind of making their way into a variety of typings. Get the Salamence down there. I'll zoom out just a little bit, make sure you can see that. And yes, before I did these openings, I did go through and experience them for myself once again. This is the Arceus commemoration deck. I think it might have been around 10th anniversary or something like that. It is a smaller set, it's a subset, but it's a booster box that has booster packs, so I decided to include it. And just like that, it's done. You'll see a few more of those as we go on. Here we've got Heart Gold. Start of the Legend series. Poor Ho-Oh, cut in half, but still legendary. The advent of the Prime cards, or Great cards. Us Japanese collectors, we call them Greats. But it is interchangeable. I will know what you are talking about if you call them Primes. In fact, I'll call them Primes myself from time to time. It's just easier. Cool DCE and the Alph Lithograph, those little secret cards at the end. And oh, what's this? When I say Master Set, I include mirror foil cards too. So if it had a mirror foil version, I had to get it. Are they always in 100% the best condition ever? Nah. A little secret, my 3rd gen is pretty much the same way. I get the best condition available, or if the condition that I want is not available, sometimes I have to settle. But I'm not looking to sell this collection, ever. I'm looking to sell all the duplicates. I'm looking to clear out a lot of the extra stock that I have, but this collection means a lot to me. And I don't see myself letting it go anytime soon. And of course, where there's Heart Gold, there will also be Soul Silver. The second half of Legend Series 1. There's Lugia right up there. Lugia Legend. It's funny how Heart Gold had 1 and Soul Silver had 1. And then when they combined them to make Legend Series 2 a single booster box and a single set to complete, you got 3. I mean, I'm excited about it, but it would have been cool to have included something else with it that would have fit the bill. And then your mirror foil cards as well. Mirror foil Greats / mirror foil Primes can be kind of hard to come by. You maybe expect to get 1 in a booster box, and it's certainly not guaranteed. You can open multiple boxes and get none. Or you can get really lucky and open a box and get 2 of them. So they can be tough to find. But I got them all, because that's my thing. Next binder. And now we're moving on with Reviving Legends, Legend Series 2. Sun is getting explosive up there, so let me just try to change my angle a little bit. You got Legend Series 2, which also featured mirror foil cards, and the same thing for Legend Series 3, which is Clash at the Summit. I believe they might be like the only sets that are in this binder. Awesome, great Tyranitar there. And of course your Legend cards right there. Entei, Raikou, and Suicune all switching amongst each other. Good bunch of swingers. Just kidding, Pokemon don't do that stuff. And your Reviving Legends mirror foils too. I'll try to go through them a little bit faster because you've already seen them pretty much. Awesome Metagross too, I love that card. Oh, skipped a page. We're back. Now this one is another smaller set. This is Lost Link, which I have opened a booster box of on the channel. Very distinct patterns of artwork. Amazing cards inside, which is really your selling point. Does have the Darkrai Cresselia legend that we're coming up on. Oh, there it is right there. You can see it there. It's only 40 cards, but it is pretty awesome if you get the chance. And then there's Clash of the Summer right here. Got your Celebi down at the bottom. What was it? Unleashed in English? Something like that? I don't know, the birds in the trees on the other side of my yard seem to like it. So I'll have to remember that. If I want them to chirp in January instead of July, I just need to bust this set out. Kyogre, Groudon, Dialga, Palkia, Rayquaza, Deoxys. This is a different design, again, from how they did it in Legend Series 2. Rather than having all three legendary beasts appear on 2 out of the 3 cards, they selected 6 different legendaries all to appear together on just one. And I thought that was really fun. And this is going to finish up 4th Gen. And now let's start with Gen 5. And here we are with Generation 5. Black Collection first. Again, completely different design. A big change to the TCG. I didn't notice a huge change between Gens 3 and 4, but going from 4 to 5 is just like a real shock to the system. In Black and White 1 and Black and White 2, they did not have EX cards. They did have a couple of full arts, as we get Tornadus and Reshiram, and they did have the shiny Pikachu. And here's White Collection as well. But they didn't have EXs, not yet. They're still on the way. I think they kind of realized it after the first couple of sets, like they needed to do something. Especially when you have the Platinum series and the Legend series, it's not enough to just make cards anymore. You gotta stand out. So you got the Thundurus, there's the Zekrom, and there's the same Pikachu. And I believe there was an error on the Pikachu cards so that they each had the same stamp. Like they both are Black Collection cards, or they're both White Collection cards, something like that. Here's Red Collection, which is Black and White 2, all on its own. That awesome page of full arts right there. Very cool. And then on to Hail Blizzard. And Hail Blizzard and Psycho Drive were the sets that convinced me to collect in the first place. And you'll see why in just a few short seconds. I started introducing the EX Pokemon. It's awesome. They got Kyogre, they got Groudon, got Regigigas. Showing up right there. But it's these full arts, and that particular, the Groudon full art, made me make the change and collect Japanese at all. Because I wasn't collecting English, but when I saw a video of Hail Blizzard being opened, I knew it was for me. So we got Psycho Drive right here, the other part of Black and White 3. Got the Mewtwo, of course, so you'll be seeing that full art Mewtwo any second now. There's Shaman, Kyogre. There's your Mewtwo, and a couple of shinies up there too. Zoroark and Hydreigon. There Then we get Dark Rush, and Dark Rush is a beautiful set. It's not quite as nostalgic for me because it doesn't hold the same importance for me, but if you, like, I don't know, if you put me in a position where I had an opportunity to open some Dark Rush, it would happen. It would happen. If somebody wants to put booster boxes on sale on eBay for like $50 a piece, I'll buy a couple. And obviously I have the completed set, but it's just so enjoyable to open that set. It's a lot of fun. Got some cool full arts too, clearly. The Gardevoir and the Archeops are shinies, and the Catcher as well. Now here we have Dragon Selection, which is a tiny set, but it introduced the Dragon type to the TCG. And when I say tiny set, it's over. Bam, 20 cards, and we're finished. And then we move on to Dragon Blade and Dragon Blast. Unfortunately, I'm fighting reflections now, so trying to get them in the page and still make you be able to see them. Light source is changing as the day goes on, so do apologize for any glare that you may experience. Some excellent full arts right there, and then Serperior and Crocodile as shinies. And then Dragon Blast, which everyone knows as the set with the full art Mew. But I know it as a set where I pulled my very first shiny from a booster box. Because when I first started collecting, I only opened one booster box of each. I didn't really prioritize completion of a collection, and if I did, it was fairly easy to do so. And then I pulled a shiny Reuniclus out of probably my 5th or 6th booster box that I ever opened. And it was amazing. Hi, Mew. And there's a shiny Ray as well. Then move on to Black and White 6, Freeze Bolt. As we talked about a little while ago, a bit earlier, was the first set that I ever purchased at release. So it's kind of special for me. It also featured A-Spec Trainer cards, like the Gold Potion that you can kind of see, and now you can completely see right there. Got some pretty sweet full arts here. Shiny Golurk and Rocky Helmet, kind of underwhelming. And we've got Cold Flare here, with our Celebi, the Deluge Blastoise, and there's Keldeo too. So you can really just exclusively collect Cold Flare and get a lot of what you needed for what was a pretty popular black and white deck back in the day. Very cool artwork on the computer search. Everyone loves that Keldeo, I would have to imagine. Full art Bianca, and then Terrakion and Altaria as your shinies. Then we get Plasma Gale. And Plasma Gale, if I had remembered, if I had just kept some sealed back then, and I just didn't want to be that type of collector to keep boxes sealed, especially not first edition ones. I had to open them. I really bought them to buy them. I didn't see them as investments I wanted to collect. But oof, if I had sat on some of those. They're pretty expensive now. We can't have that mindset all the time. Hypnotoxic Laser, remember that? You got the Victini and the Articuno. And of course, all this awesome stuff with the Lugia and the shiny Charizard being the real highlights there. And now we have, center in, there we go. Handheld camera action. Black and White 8, this part is Spiral Force. And then you'll see Thunder Knuckle immediately following, which is something that I was lucky enough to open 15 packs of on the channel just a few days ago, thanks to an amazing viewer out there. Black and White 8 and Black and White 9, they did some terrific stuff with the overall set that I just really, really enjoyed. Thunder Knuckle in particular was really special. There's that Ultra Ball too. And you thought to yourself, they'll never make another shiny Ultra Ball. Well, whoops. And here's Thunder Knuckle right here. We're nearing the end of Black and White as an expansion, as an era. That's Hydreigon. Love, love, love this Latias. Such a great card. Some decent full arts, and the Juniper full art right there. Then a couple cool shinies. Finishes out Black and White 8. And now we're picking things back up with Shiny Collection, which is a small set, another mini set, almost like a concept pack at the time. Some funny full arts at the end, 3 per box. It's odd. You know what? We're going to aim a little bit higher, I think, is probably our best bet. As we get into Megalocanon, which is Black and White 9. I remember getting this set super early, and it was a lot of fun. The pulls did not work out very well for me. I went 0 for 3 on full arts. That part was not great. But it was a really cool set, and it is definitely a larger set than what preceded it. I mean, due in no small part to the fact that it did not have a companion expansion. But I've still always been enamored with the larger sets, especially when you buy multiple boxes. It just makes it feel fresh for a lot longer. Cool stuff. And EX Battle Boost. EX Battle Boost was a set that could have made me famous. So if you do not know, the most watched video on this channel by far is EX Battle Boost Booster Box Opening number 1. It is not a good video. The craftsmanship is not there. To be honest, I've never had a high production value of my videos. I've never just placed a lot of priority onto it. I always wanted to just focus on the cards and get my videos out there. It's not worth it to me to edit something for an hour if I'm going to film it for 10 minutes. But box number 1 is over 800,000 views on YouTube, and I think that's hilarious. Here's your golden cards, Reshiram and Zekrom, and the Pokemon Enterprise cards and the Imakuni, and nothing on the back. And then we have the mirror foil versions, and this set, because Black and White switched to 5-card packs, this set only had 4 or 5 mirror foils per booster box. So you can imagine how difficult it was to get all of them. It took a long time. But we completed it, just like we completed every other set, through perseverance and determination, and just being annoying to people who are better than me. I find that the last one is severely undervalued. Yep, even the Juniper and the Imakuni and the Enterprise cards had mirror foils in this set. And now we're on X and Y. X and Y, X Collection, starting things off. You will see that the Vivillon is printed again and then out of place at the end of the binder. These sets are numbered. X and Y sets have numbers on them, so I don't feel right just throwing everything out of whack. I would not be able to follow the numbering system if I did that. But X Collection's got its 3 full arts at the bottom, and then the special Vivillon at the back. And then there's Y Collection too. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. This is the calm before the storm in the TCG. Got your 3 full arts there. I decided to throw the energies here because otherwise I would have needed another page with X and Y, with X Collection. Wild Blaze. A set that made me go from collecting 5 booster boxes to 20. And then I didn't look back from there. I thought about switching back to 10 boxes for Rising Fist, but I'd already opened up Pandora's box. I couldn't really do much about it. So I had to stick with it. And it's because of this set that we've had an awful lot of great memories on the channel. Weird pulls, weird sequences of pulls, amazing cards, and a lot of the viewership that I have today. I think them expanding this set just massively, you know, with cards like this helped too. Alright. Alrighty, and in we go with Rising Fist. Much bigger set than a lot of its counterparts. Clocking in at 96 cards before the full arts. Let me zoom out again. It was a beast to collect. A lot of the uncommon cards, notoriously hard to keep hold of. It's the type of set where if you buy one booster box, you're not going to come close to finishing it. You'd be very, very exceedingly lucky to finish a common and uncommon set from a single box. It's just too big. Too big of a set for a 100-card booster box to do the type of damage that you need. So you need another outlet, another way to get cards. So I opened a whole case and finished the whole set. And that was a lot of fun. Lots of full arts. Got that Battle Reporter in box number 20. Just a really cool experience. And now Phantom Gate backed off the sizing a little bit, down to 88 cards. There's still a lot of cool stuff in it. That Mega Gengar, still going to be popular to this day. Not that it was all that long ago. We've been through a lot of years here, guys. If you were around for base set, this is most of your life in all likelihood. It's even most of my life. Base set was 96. It'll be 33 next month. So yeah, it's about 2/3 of my life. I stop the video in the middle to do math. The Team Flare, cherry red holographic trainer cards. Still a favorite of mine. I always thought those were cool. And some awesome full arts to boot. Lysander. We get into Tidal Storm and Gaia Volcano in X and Y number 5. The Whale Party, EX at the bottom. It's the only card anyone will ever need. Yep. Oh, Tidal Storm. Oh, Gaia Volcano. Oh, Primal Clash, you poor English collectors. You had all this unleashed on you at once. I don't know how you managed. So we get into Gaia Volcano. And it's full arts too. Little double Groudon, the Teammates full art that I pulled 3 boxes in a row. Another mini set here, Double Crisis. This is Concept Pack set number 1. The full art Aqua's Kyogre and the full art Magma's Groudon were just a part of the set. They were just in the middle. They're numbered as part of it because you get them in every box. It does its job and it's out of there. So now we're on to Emerald Break, which was its own set. No simultaneous release or anything like that. Thank goodness with the popularity of Rayquaza and especially Shaman. You know, Shaman was the first time that I realized that collecting Japanese versions of cards in the States, they could still have a lot of extra value just by virtue of being playable. It wasn't something that I necessarily thought was plausible at the time, but when I immediately sold out of Shamans and I got some more from other openings and I immediately sold out again, I was like, oh man, I gotta make some adjustments for that. Same thing was happening with Tapu Lele for a while too. Never seemed to happen with Zoroark though. So now we got Bandit Ring. Underrated EX right there in Kyurem. I don't know about playability. I don't think it's playable at all, but I always thought it was cool. Bandit Ring, very similar to Emerald Break in a lot of ways, in set sizing and a lot of the stuff that they did, but they went totally nuts with the EXs and the ultra rares. Totally nuts. Almost to their own detriment, I think. So we get the cool little special energies, Spirit Links in. Bam! So we get Sceptile in its Mega, Kyurem, Ampharos in its Mega, Hoopa, Machamp, Tyranitar in its Mega, Giratina, Lugia, 3 ultra rare primal or Mega forms, and then 2 shinies. That's 16 full arts or better in a set. That should not have happened. So they took it down a little peg. They went with Legendary Shine Collection, and they made holos full arts. My goodness. This is a great set. I think it's fun. You know, it's a cool entry point to be able to get holos as, you know, particularly special cards. But just opened up a can of worms, the likes of which I don't think we needed to ever see. So we have X and Y 8 with Blue Shock and Red Flash with the Mega Mewtwo's. And really all they had going for them was their full arts. The sets were too small. They had break cards too. Like, break cards are cool, but performance of a box was extremely predictable and reliable. I mean, you knew what you were going to get. Every box had a Glalie EX and a Mewtwo EX, or 95% of them. Then you would get a Mega, and then for the most part, you would probably get a full art, and you just hope that it was one of the cool ones. I really do like the Bridget. I tend not to be thirsty over Pokemon cards, but I think the design is really cool. And here we have Red Flash, which went obviously the same way. You end up with just a lot of duplicates that you just can't move. More full art goodness there, with my knuckles out the way of the Mega Houndoom. Giovanni and the Ultra Rare. Guys, we are nearly done with X and Y. This video ended up being a lot longer than I anticipated. So we have X and Y 9. We've got Rage of the Broken Sky here. A lot of good stuff in this expansion. Made a couple of improvements on what happened with X and Y 8. Without, I think, going too far in either direction. And Awakening of the Psychic King kind of followed that model as well. I still wish we had gotten a non-red full art Gyarados. I think that would have been nice. But the full arts were not completely disruptive. And there was only one ultra rare as well in the Gyarados. I thought that was nice. So here we have Pokecune. Kind of chilling in the middle of all of this. Another small set. Another concept pack. And then moving right on to Awakening of the Psychic King. I did not do well with this set when I opened its case. At least, certainly not in the second half. But it is a pretty sweet set. It's got the Umbreon and the Glaceon, which are special to me. I did pull the Glaceon in box 20. But I think like the 8 boxes before that I got nothing. Even the trainers are cool. They're colorful, they're inventive. They're nice. There's the Glaceon, the Alakazams, and the other full arts in the set, including the Umbreon in the corner and that cool Team Rocket supporter. And then there's Premium Champion. The fully mirror foil set. And the reprint bonanza that followed it. I mean, it had been a couple of years since EX Battle Boost, so if we got something like this, you know, with this type of frequency, like, I get it. It totally makes sense, but I'm going a little nuts with it now. Lots of EX power in here. Cool opportunity for players to get the cards that they need for their expansions, especially if they had been unable, maybe at the time, to collect what they needed to make competitive decks. And just from a collector's perspective, I just think that they're a lot of fun. I don't need sets like this as often as they provide them, but I'll take them when they come along. I mean, we had Premium Champion, and yet they still, in the middle of Sun and Moon hit us with the Best of X and Y, and then GX Battle Boost, and now we're getting GX Ultra Shiny as well in November. But there were no full arts in this set. Wait and see how that changes. So now we're on X and Y 11. I didn't think that we were going to stick with X and Y. I thought they'd continue to do weird stuff. But we got Explosive Fighter and Cruel Trader, which boomeranged back on themselves very, very sharply, as you will see. And a couple of cool break cards, a couple of dual types. But after setting themselves up with all these full arts, all of a sudden we get this. You get 3 full arts, one of them as a mega. You get a full art supporter that is identical in the other set with a different set symbol, and then 1 ultra rare. Like, it's kind of weird. I had actually purchased a case of Explosive Fighter and Cruel Trader in advance, and I ended up not opening all of them, because I didn't have to. I think I opened only 13 boxes out of 20. The dual types are a nice touch. I think they're cool, but I don't think it saves a lot of what happens with the set. This is Cruel Trader, by the way. The Mega Gardevoir should give that away. And I do like the Gardevoir full arts here better, but still wish there'd been maybe 1 or 2 more, just a little more variety. Then we have Legendary Dream, and Legendary Dream was another concept pack set, a small set, concept pack number 5, but it had similar full art style hollows to Legendary Shine. They were just part of the regular set in lieu of, other hollows, but they threw in a smattering of some regular EXs, and then the mega rare Yveltal and Xerneas that were up there. Now, I did manage to pull both of those, and that was pretty special. Some of this artwork might look familiar to what you saw, I don't know, an hour ago? I'm not sure how long this video is at this point because it's all segmented, but this is 20th anniversary, which I distinctly remember as coming out right when I started my new job. So it's cool to kind of put aside 70-hour work weeks and just be like, I'm going to come home and enjoy this, and this is going to be fun for me. There's probably not a whole lot of explanation that needs to be offered for CP6. I know you guys are just looking forward to the full arts. And here we go. Venusaur, Mega Venusaur, Charizard, Mega Charizard, Blastoise, Mega Blastoise, and everything in between. And the Ultra Uncommons and stuff too. I thought that was weird too. And now we're in the current generation. Finally, but don't worry, we're not just about done, because there's so much in the current generation to go through. This, my friends, is Collection Sun, with the introduction of GX Pokemon and 7th generation Mons for the first time. I did go overboard with this and purchase 20 boxes of each. That was an oversight. That's not happening anymore. Instead, I'm doing 12 boxes of each, which is much more reasonable, I found. So we've got the super rare full arts and supporters, and then the hyper rare cards for the first time, those rainbow rare creations, plus the ultra rares too. And now we're on a Collection Moon with the same thing, GXs galore, full arts, hyper rares, ultra rares, just the whole shebang. Got a little crazy with it, they did. And then, after Collection Sun, Collection Moon came out, and it was exciting and fun for everybody, they made a pretty controversial decision. They made Sun and Moon 1 Plus. They made a mirror foil expansion with fewer cards in the boxes. They reprinted GXs from side decks, coupled and interspersed with new ones. And they released them in between sets. A lot of these are just straight reprints. I collected them because I collect them, but Sun and Moon 1 Plus and Sun and Moon 2 Plus were just... They didn't work out as well as they could have. Get all these full arts and then bam, you're hit with this massive pile of hyper rares if you want to complete it. And on top of that, they throw in an ultra rare energy, ultra rare DCE. It could have been a real slippery slope for Pokemon. And this continued for a while as we get into Islands Awaiting You and Alolan Moonlight, which are our Sun and Moon 2 expansions. Where I exercised a little humility and realized that more is not necessarily better when purchasing booster boxes, and I scaled it back down to 12. Some cool full arts, although I don't know that I will ever forgive this disgusting puke color that surrounds all the Dragon-type full arts that we get. Some hyper rares, and overall a fairly achievable set. I felt the same way about Alolan Moonlight here. There he is. There's the Tapu Lele. Now, Alolan Moonlight was split up into two types of booster boxes. One where you pulled Tapu Lele and one where you didn't. Oftentimes, having a Tapu Lele will be worth more than all the other cards in the box combined. Unless, of course, you pulled a full art Tapu Lele or the hyper rare Tapu Lele. This is the era of extremely expensive, needlessly pricey cards. And here, you have a switch. What's happening here? This is the best of X and Y. This is a truly gargantuan set. It's 171 cards. It also features a ton of full arts and then mirror foils on top of it. This set was a blast and 3/4 to collect. I don't know that I've ever had as much fun uploading to YouTube as I did with this. Well, maybe there's a set that comes up shortly that gives it a run for money, but Best of X and Y definitely represents an unexpected peak for me in terms of the fun of collecting. Did they reprint a ton of stuff? Yeah. Did they go back to EXs? Yeah. Is the set a money grab? Yes. But all that stuff aside, it's so great to have a set with this much variety in it. And the full arts, my goodness. The full arts are mind-blowing. The trainer cards are super helpful to Japanese players, and honestly, it's cool to get a collection like this. They did have a couple new EXs and Mega Camerupt and Mega Sharpedo that we had not experienced yet. They threw in extra Spirit Links. I don't know, it was cool. It was just fun and cool. And it felt like an immense challenge. Did I quite complete it? No. But did this happen? Yes. Get this incredible specimen here. Never get over that. Seen 17 full arts at once, and bam, too, there's your mirror foils as well. Which I did manage to complete just from the case. I did not pull the full art Karen, but I got everything else, including everything you see here. That, I think, had a profound effect on my enjoyment of the set as well. That it was so huge, and yet I did not have a monumental amount of stuff to purchase. I just had to buy like a $30 or $35 full art supporter. In comparison to everything else that preceded it, I'll take it. Even the energies look cool with the mirror foiling too. It's got a weird sort of sparkle on them, but I think they're particularly nice. It's just me. And then we have Sun and Moon 2 Plus. What do they call it? Beyond a New Challenge or something like that. And this set was also a bit of a scourge. It was cool having the Tapus. I liked having the Tapus in here. And having those special uncommons isn't bad either. But, like, some of this stuff is just... it's just crazy. To have an in-between set with all this extra stuff that, like, if you want to be a completionist, you've got to collect. Thank goodness they fixed it, and they did fix it for sure. So here you got Sun and Moon 3, became Burning Shadows. So to have seen the Battle Rainbow to start. Got your Alolan Muck hanging out there. It's important. Ho-Oh and Charizard reunited in the same set I thought was cool. Nope, sorry, in the Fire Energy. Almost didn't show you that one. Looks like the beagle next door is woken up. Sorry about the howling. It's actually just my alter ego. Got that really cool Necrozma, I do dig that. And Guzma as well, hanging out there. Hyper rares, ultra rares. There's your ultra rare Fairy Energy right there. And here we have Shining Legends, Sun and Moon 3 Plus. The set I opened 40 boxes of. I opened 20 boxes of them, and I started selling the shinies, and I ran out in like 2 days. It was gross and unexpected and ridiculous, and I mean, just selling duplicates from it, pretty much the box paid for itself. The case paid for itself. So I made a controversial decision and bought another case, and I opened it all in one video. And that was really cool. I've never done something like that before. You've got your full arts, the really cool full art supporter of the set. There's your hyper rares, and the card that everyone remembers from Sun and Moon, that ultra rare, like origin style Mewtwo. And here we go with Sun and Moon 4. So following ridiculous names such as To Have Seen the Battle Rainbow and Darkness That Consumes Light, we calm things down with Awakened Heroes and Ultra Dimensional Beasts. And that is, well, slightly better. I don't know, after Shining Legends, these sets felt a bit tame to me, but they were still fun to collect. Got the Alolan Golem hanging out there, kind of standing himself out. It was cool to collect them, but it wasn't overwhelming. I kind of like that. There's Nihilego there. Sales definitely went well for Sun and Moon 4. I think maybe people were just high on it after Shining Legends came out. Man, those dogs are going nuts over there. The Alolan Exeggutor. And this is when full art trainers really started to get crazy. Now they're nuts. By the way, I adore that card. It's so cool. Now they're nuts. So this little creation here, you might recognize, wait, what's going on there? And there, 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 and there. Well, Sun and Moon 4 ended up being the spot where they decided they've done enough, we can do a reprint set. So we got GX Battle Boost. And they gave us a few extra GXs, they reprinted Tapu Lele and some other popular ones. They edited the artwork and gave us the different Lunala and Solgaleo, which I thought was nice. Is GX Battle Boost on the level of some of the other sets, like the Best of X and Y? No, it is not. But it is still, you know, it's still fairly cool. Getting a GX guaranteed out of every booster pack, that's a pretty special feeling. Especially, like, as a kid living in Japan, you've only got the money to afford a pack or maybe two. To be able to get the guarantee that you get a GX card for yourself, be it a reprint or not, is still pretty nice. So we've got the regular super rares down there for the three new cards: Pheromosa, Xurkitree, and Celesteela. The hyper rares, the two ultra rares, and the ladies up at the top, which just kicked that supporter bonanza into overdrive. And then before you know it, we're right into Sun and Moon 5. We've got Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon cranking out. It was like 6 or 7 months ago. So we've traversed quite a bit of time here. We start seeing Prism cards. which is nice. Dialga and Palkia in here didn't really impress me. I think they could have done a lot more with those. Which is basically why they reprinted them later. It's different typing as well, which I thought was strange, going from Dragon to Steel typing. Your Full Art supporters, your Hyper Rares, and your Ultra Rares too. The unit energy, I do dig. There's your Ultra Moon, skipping completely over the grass and fire types, and instead going right to water and electric. Something I've never really enjoyed in sets. I think I've voiced that before. I like it when a set includes Mons of all different types. I'm not trying to be like Tumblr preachy exclusive or something like that. Oh, sorry, inclusive, not exclusive, or anything like that. But I think a set that has more variety automatically has like a higher ceiling. It has the opportunity to be better simply because you're not pulling cards that are one of 4 different colors, you know? So you got your Full Arts right there, your Hyper Rares, and a Golden Skateboard. And I don't know why I still have these in here, but I do. The little scrap cards from Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I decided to throw in there and keep there. I haven't kept them from other expansions, like Double Crisis and Emerald Break had them. So I haven't kept those in there, but for some reason I kept these. I guess I just considered them part of a collection or something. And then we've got Ultra Force right here. Ultra Sun and Moon 5+. Not thrilling like Shining Legends, but not bad. It's not a bad set. You know, the GXs are alright. They still do include some Prism cards, and they don't have this ridiculous overrun of Hyper Rares. Instead of 7 that we had in like Sun and Moon 1+, we've got 4 here. Plus, they printed me on a card. Crash Awake, that's me. I literally flew to Japan to be modeled for that card. In case you did not know. Here's information for you. I'm a professional wrestler. Sun and Moon 6, Forbidden Light. We are nearly to the current stage of the TCG. We're almost there. Still going strong with GXs and Prisms. That's probably going to happen for a little bit. That Zygarde GX I've always liked as well. Forbidden Light did one thing particularly well. It got big. It became a big set. And you'll see that in Celestial Storm in just a moment as well. And there's your Full Arts, Yveltal and Xerneas reunited side by side in a set. Some more Full Art supporter action. And your Hyper and Ultra Rares too. And then boom! What's happening here? Well, this, my friends, this is Sun and Moon 6A. Sun and Moon 6A? It's not Sun and Moon 6+? Well, no. Why would it be? Because they released 2 sets in the middle of this. We've got Dragonstorm here, and then Champion Road immediately following it as Sun and Moon 6B. There is no such thing as a break in TCG collecting in Japan anymore. Eventually there's going to be a new set every 12 hours, and it's just going to be impossible to finish. So I'm glad in this moment I'm finished now. Got that Ultra Rare Dragonite, sorry, the Hyper Rare Dragonite, to finish that off. And they're frankly running out of ideas with Ultra Rares. That's like, they put my garage and they just have all 3 as Ultra Rares. I don't even have a garage, but there it is. I have Sun and Moon 6B with Champion Road. Again, as I mentioned, what feels like 2 weeks ago, they did pull these cards and scans from them and attacks from them and things like that, either as exact reprints or spiritual reprints from previous sets, which I found a little bit cooler than I expected at the time, because, I mean, it is a reprint set, essentially, but they did spice it up a little bit, and I don't know, for a one-off like this, I kind of found it fun. Tons of full arts in the set, though. Tons and tons. I love this, like, Made in Abyss style full art right there, too. The Underground Expedition. And a bunch more in the back. And now there's only one set to go. And that set, my dearest friends, is here. Sun and Moon 7 Celestial Storm, which you're seeing completed for the very first time. So just want to take a quick moment as this video wraps up the final images to thank each and every one of you for supporting the channel. Special thanks to anyone who has ever helped me complete all these sets and get a master Japanese set of cards. Whether you directly help me by selling me or trading me cards back in yesteryear, or you help me find cards that I could purchase. Some of you have given me cards that I didn't have in the first place, which is amazing. But I also don't want to discount the helpfulness of people who have simply supported the channel and kept me going. If this channel had no support at all, if it never got off the ground, I may have stopped years ago. And maybe this never would have been a possibility. It would have just been a lost dream or, you know, an ignored hobby somehow. And I didn't want it to go that way. I always said if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I would probably still collect. But I don't think I'd be collecting like this. So truly it is the support of anyone who's ever watched this channel, liked a video of mine, commented, subscribed, told a friend about this channel, who has really made the difference and made something like this possible. Celestial Storm, completely complete. My Japanese master set at 100% capacity. Thank you all for watching this video and for enjoying it. Make sure you like it, comment at the bottom, and let me know what cards you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.